So now we are entering into the providers. So you know that what is provider? What is provider? Just in general, forget about the Terraform.
Which platform you are? Oh, sorry. Okay.
Yeah, correct, correct. So who is providing the support, right? If Azure is providing the cloud support, then Azure is my provider. If AWS is providing support, then AWS is my provider. Okay, so that is called a provider. Okay, we can call it as provider or plugins. We will come to that. If you see, provider is the heart of Terraform. Without provider, you cannot execute Terraform. Why? Because provider only knows how to connect, how to execute your code, how to create the resources, everything your provider only knows. Okay. Then we will see how it can be downloaded. Okay. If you see here, whenever you are running the Terraform init command, what it will do, it will connect to the Terraform registry. From there, it will download the provider on your local machine. Once the provider is on a local machine, then you are good to execute Terraform plan command, Terraform apply command. Once you execute the Terraform apply command, your provider, which has all the information, which has all the APIs, which has all the commands indirectly. Okay, we cannot see it, but indirectly it is having it. So using that provider, it will create the resources on your target platform, right? And if you run the Terraform destroy command, it will delete the resources. So Terraform provider is the heart of your Terraform. Okay, and every resource type is implemented by the provider. Okay, this line, just ignore it. Okay, you will come later. Without provider, Terraform cannot manage your infrastructure. Okay, provider distributed separately from Terraform. Each provider has its own release cycle and version. Okay, we will discuss that. Okay, fine. Now see this. Okay, we will stick with this one. Okay, now for now. Where I am into here. Okay, fine. Okay, okay. Now I'm having one file. Okay, now I'm doing Terraform init. I'm doing Terraform init on my local machine, on my command line. I'm doing Terraform init. See here, it is initializing provider plugins. What is provider plugins? Based on I mean whatever you're mentioning on your Terraform block, as you are mentioning the Ashik of Azure RM, it will download the providers. Okay, let's see here. Dot Terraform. If you expand it, you can see this. See, providers, Terraform.io, Ashikop, Azure RM, 3.34 version, and Darwin ARM64 is the provider package. This package is having all the information how to create resource on your target platform. Okay, so without this package, the Terraform cannot handle your target platform, right? That's why Terraform init is always must whenever you're executing the Terraform commands, whenever you want to create the resources. Okay, okay. Now if you see here, right, Terraform registry. Okay, so so it will go to here in this page. Actually, whenever you do Terraform init, it will go to this page specifically, and if it is Azure, it will go to this Azure, and based on the version, right, based on version, it will choose the version, and it will download this package. It will download this package from here. Okay, that is what I have shown here. Okay, okay. So now tell me where this package is getting downloaded from. Where? This one. If I do Terraform init, where it is getting downloaded, where my package is getting downloaded?
From the AZURE Provider Registry.
From the registry dot io, right? Super. Okay. And also, how will you download based on this one? See, I will come to this later. Okay. First, see this one. Version equal to 3.34.0. As we are having versions for Terraform, we are having versions for provider as well. Okay. So if you see here, there are a lot of versions we are having it, right? So many versions we are having it. Okay, so if you want to stick with any specific version, you can mention this version constraint. If you don't mention this version, it will download always the latest version. Okay, as I mentioned 3.34 here, it is downloaded 34 3.34 here. Okay, if you don't mention, it will download the latest. What is the latest version? 4.14.0. Okay, so again, as like Terraform, the provider is also releasing so many things. So who is provider here? Who is provider here?
Azure.
Azure. In the Azure, if they introduce any new feature, if they fix any bugs, I mean, forget about the Terraform. Just go to the cloud platform and the cloud portal. In the cloud portal, if they introduce the new service, the new service will be available only on the new provider. Am I right? If you want to use the new service on the Azure, then you should go for the new provider version, right? So that's how we have to choose the provider version here. Okay, if you want to know what are the releases, what are the bug fixes happened on the specific version, then always you can go to this one, this page. If you go to releases, right, where is the releases tags and releases? Okay, I have given the direct link here. Okay, if you want to where it is. Okay, I have given the direct release version here, I mean release link here. You can click and go here. Everything is fine. Okay, now see 4.4 14.0 is the major version, I mean the latest version. So these things they have done. So these things they have changes they have done, and future they have released this one. Okay, and enhancement they have done. Okay, so these kind of things we can see it. Okay, for each versions. Okay, for each and every version you can see it. Okay, fine. Now, okay, now let's see on this providers. Now you know what is providers. Provider is nothing but who is providing the target support for us. Okay, so you know why provider is must for Terraform. Okay, so if you click the providers in the registered IO, if you click the providers, there are three things: official, partner, and community. What is official? If you select only official, it means AWS, Azure, GCP, Kubernetes, and there are few other things. Okay, it means these are managed and approved by HashiCorp. Okay, if you go for partner, if you choose partner, these are the providers. Is developed by other, but it is maintained by Terraform. Okay, but official means it is developed and maintained by HashiCorp. If you go for community, see, these are the community providers. Community providers nothing but suppose if you are very good in, actually Terraform is created using Go language. Okay, so if you are good in Go language, you can create your own provider for your product and you can release it. Okay, and any single person or a group of people, they created their own provider, and if they want to have in the Archicop site, they can upload here. So these are the community providers, but these are not managed by Terraform, not managed by HashiCorp. Okay, so that is what. So providers, provider batches, and provider documentation. See, official will be look like this. Official. Let me. Okay. See, this batch, right? This is official. If you see this batch, this is official. If you see this kind of icon, that is a partner. If you see community, that is a community people, either single or group of people. Okay, and that is a provider actually. Okay, and I'm going to the home page again. This is a provider, and second one is a module. Okay, the module we will discuss later, as well as the another thing is library policy library, that is still in beta, but I will just give overview when we are discussing in the cloud enterprise. Okay, okay, but mostly we will use these providers and modules. Okay, fine. Okay, now let's see this. If you have any confusion, you can always interrupt me. Okay, fine. See here, this Terraform block, you know what is Terraform block, and record version, you know it. Record providers. Here, uh, just hold it. Okay, just see this one, this specific thing. Source equal to archicop slash Azure ARM. Whenever the Terraform code sees this Ashukop slash Azure RM, then it will directly go to the registry.io. See, registry.terraform.io slash Ashukop slash Azure RM. Directly it will go to the specific page. Here we have not mentioned this host name. By default, it will be registry.terraform.io only it will reach. Okay. Okay. So this specific line indicate that you should contact Azure, I mean registry.terraform.io. There you need to go to Archicop, Azure RM and download the providers. And the version number, here it is mentioned, you should download only the specific version. That is what the meaning of these two lines. Okay, okay. This Azure RM is can be anything. It may be Azure RM, it may be Suresh, or it may be Ford, whatever it is. Okay, that is your wish. But these two things should be like this only. Okay, fine. But mostly it is always better to use Azure RM, like as your provider name. Okay, okay. Any confusion, any doubts on this Azure Terraform block? No. But anyhow, you are going to copy paste only always. Just it's a one-time job. Okay. For thousands of lines, you just need to have only these block. That's it. Okay, you can copy paste from there, but you need to understand what this is and what this provider and all. Based on this provider only, it will download it. Okay, any confusion, any doubts till now? This Terraform block alone, I'm asking.
Fine.
Super. Okay, okay. Yes, we have downloaded the provider. Now Terraform knows how to create the resources. That is all fine. Okay, fine. But how Terraform authenticate your provider? How Terraform authenticate your Azure portal? How Terraform authenticate your AWS? Here you mentioned, yes, I'm going to write a code for Azure, so that you just download the provider for me. Yes, it has done the job. After that, it has to connect to the Azure portal, right? While connecting it, how it will get authenticated? There where we are having this provider block. We have seen the Terraform block now. Now we are moving into the provider block. Okay, what is provider block? Provider block is specifically for authenticating your Azure portal or AWS portal, whatever it is. Okay, how to use provider block? Okay, that is what here mentioned here. See, provider is a block type. You have to use it. Okay, provider you have to mention it. After that, it has a one label, right? This label can be anything. Can be anything means, see here in the required providers, if you mention Azure RM equal to, right, then this is the name you have to mention here. Okay, if you mention here something like uh, Azure portal, then the label should be Azure portal here. Okay, but it is always better use the standard one. If it is Azure RM, just use Azure RM. Okay, this is the standard one, but it can be anything. That's what I'm saying. Okay, and this provider block, this is a block, so that we are having block type and a label name and then square bracket open and closed square, I mean sorry, curly braces open, curly braces closed. Okay, and within this block we are having some body. The body is nothing but the arguments of this block. Okay, how do you know that what are the arguments available for this specific block? That is the second question that we will see it now. If you go to see this registry.io is the main page. If you want to write the code, you have to open this page always. You have to refer this page always and you want to write the code. Okay. Okay. Go to providers. What is your provider? Azure. Go to Azure and go to documentation. Okay. Click here. So as soon as you click the documentation, the first page is for provider block only. Okay, in the provider, if you see, click the argument reference here. If you click the argument reference here, you can see all the arguments for your provider block. So what are the arguments you are having? Futures, subscription id, client id, client id path, environment, tenant id. There are so many arguments are there. Okay, so what it means, inside the provider block, I can use these many arguments, right? If you see futures, subscription id, right, I cannot use any other arguments. There are some arguments already predefined by Ashoka for this specific block, then we have to use only those argument only. Okay, the second thing, already I told you that the argument, there are optional argument and there are mandatory or there are required argument. The optional argument you can always ignore. If you ignore, the default one will be taken. Okay, if you want to use the specific one, just use the optional argument. See here, this required, what it means, you cannot use provided block without this argument. Again, see the required, you cannot use provided block without this argument, but this is optional. See, so what it means, without this argument you can use still provided block, that it won't throw any error. Okay, any doubt? We'll see the example, then you will come to know it.
No, Suresh. This is like our required versions, right? Which we used in Terraform block. It's
Yes, required
optional.
as optional one. Yes, exactly. Okay. Now we'll see the example now. See, I have mentioned the AWS as well. Some if someone wants to know AWS, the concept is same always. Okay, there is no difference between the platforms. When you are reading, if you learn if you learn Terraform for Azure, you can write code for AWS as well. You can write for GCP as well. The only thing is, you should know about the cloud platform. If you want to write AWS, you should know how AWS work. That's it. Very simple. But Terraform perspective, concept is same. Okay, you will come to know in 2 days. Okay, fine. Let's see. This is the provided block. See, what is my root folder here? Anyone? What is the root folder here?
Mainframe
Terraform
02.
Manifesto
Terraform manifest
Manifest
0,
02.
my
02.
root folder. So I should log into the specific root folder. Now I am into this root folder. Okay, let me delete these things. Okay, now I am entered into root folder. I'm having two TF files. This is the MD file. Terraform will not read this because Terraform will read only .tf files, right?
TF
So
files.
it will ignore this MD file. Okay, fine, good. Now we'll see this one. Okay, this root file is having two files. Will this execute all these blocks, whatever in the product.tf and whatever in the resource.tf? Will it execute all these files?
Yes.
Yes.
Because
All the
it will
three files will
combine.
be executed.
Yes, so it will execute all the blocks. When we learn Terraform, how we can say it will execute all the blocks, provided block, Terraform block, as well as the resource block. Okay, fine. Okay, let's see this provided block now. This Terraform block, we know it. Okay, provider block. We should know provider block should be start with provider and Azure RM. Why should I use Azure RM? Because I'm using Azure RM here, right? That's why I'm using Azure RM here. Okay. Future. This is a mandatory, so I just mentioning it. Okay. And subscription ID is mandatory, so I'm mentioning it here. Okay. 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 Fine. Now this is a subscription ID of my Azure. Okay, my Azure account. Okay, so that it will connect the specific Azure account. Okay, fine. Now let's see. First thing is Azure, sorry, Terraform Minute. If I do Terraform Minute, it is downloading 4.14.0. Why it is downloading 4.14.0?
We didn't mention any specific.
Yeah. So
It will take the latest version.
The latest
latest
one,
version.
yes.
Yes. So it's downloading latest version. If I expand that .terraform folder, you will come to know what is the version you got downloaded. 14.4.14.0. Super. Okay. Fine. First part is done. You want to execute Terraform validate, you can use, but that is not needed actually. Okay, it is valid
Plan.
from plan. Okay, Terraform plan is throwing error. What is the error here? Can anyone just read out this error and let me know?
Tenant ID is not mentioned. Like
Okay, okay. What else?
it's like a password.
So basically, my Terraform code does not know how to authenticate this specific subscription, right? That is the basic logic here, right? So as I told, provider block is mainly used for authenticating the cloud portal or target platform. Okay, how to authenticate? Let's see now. So I am into Ashika, Azure provider. If I click the documentation, directly it will take me into the provider section, provider documentation. Okay, here the argument, you can see what are the arguments we can use in the provider block. Okay, fine. Before that, you should aware of your target platform. The authentication part will be differ based on your target platform, right? If you take Azure, there are five, right? Yeah, there are 5 ways you can authenticate. One is using CLI, using managed service identity, using service principal certificate, using service principal and client secret, and using OpenID Connect. There are 5 ways you can authenticate your Azure portal. Now you should choose how you need to authenticate. Based on that, your argument will be differ. Got it? Okay. Now let's see the first one. Azure CLI. So if you want to authenticate through Azure CLI, nothing. Just simply you just use Azure AZ login. It will take me to portal and just I'm giving my credential so that it got authenticated now, and I'm choosing the subscription. Okay, fine. This is normal. Uh, this is a normal login process I have done for the Azure. Okay. I just logged in the Azure. My I mean now my laptop is having the information how to authenticate my cloud portal. It means my laptop is having access token to access my Azure portal. Am I right? Am I right or not?
Yes.
From now onwards, I can execute the Azure command to read or to deploy or to describe something. Am I right? I can do it now, right? Azure account to show. See, it is executing. How it is executing? Because I already logged in. And the specific token is stored in my laptop. Using that, it is authenticating and providing this result. I'm not into Terraform. I'm just into Azure still. Just I'm explaining you how Azure command is working here. Are you
Mm-hmm.
getting me? So, are you agree with me if I execute any AZ command, I can do anything with the AZ command on my account. Am I right?
Okay. So yes, token in the execute in the sense it's a token ID. subscription token idea somewhat.
No, token ID means okay. Forgot about the token. Actually, that is something which is stored on your local machine temporarily. Okay, that we cannot see it.
Okay.
Uh,
Okay.
but the thing is, as soon as I do Azure login, I have given credential. Am I right? AZ login. Here I'm giving credential. Actually, it is stored on my cache. That's why it is taking directly authenticating. Otherwise, it will ask your credential, username and password. Once you
Mm-hmm.
given, you will get authenticated. Now your laptop is stored. The access information will be stored somewhere. I'm not
Mm-hmm.
in Terraform now. I'm just talking about only on the Azure side now. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Here I'm having three subscriptions. So it is asking
Mm-hmm.
me to choose any of the subscription by default, because by default we have to choose some subscriptions, right? So for that I'm choosing number two, so that the second subscription will get selected by default. That's why I'm
Mm-hmm.
selecting it. That's it. From now onwards, I can execute any of the Azure command, right? Any of the Azure command, maybe is at VM list. Is there any command is a VM list? Yes, yes, it is there. Okay, so it is now pulling all my VM information now. How? Because my laptop has the information. Like my laptop has the information how to authenticate Azure portal. Am I right?
Yes, activation is there. Yes.
Yes, exactly. So the same thing applies for the AWS. I'm right. If you install AWS CLI and if you configure your secret ID and access ID, access key, using Azure, using AWS command, you can manage your AWS, right? You can
Mm-hmm.
pull the information, you can create anything, you can get the information, describe, you can do it, right? Because your
Yes, we
laptop
can.
is having information. Okay, now let's jump to the Terraform now. Okay, so now if you don't mention anything on the provider section, did I mention any authentication information, whether I'm using manager entity, whether I'm using client ID or service principal? Did I mention anything here?
No.
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 Then by default, it will go for the Azure CLI. It will check on my laptop, or it will check on the server or wherever it is running, right? There it will check. If you don't mention anything, it will check whether is there any your laptop is, or your pipeline, whatever it is having your CLI information or not. Okay. So now if I execute, let's see, Terraform plan. See, it is working. Why?
Mm-hmm.
Previously, it is not. It has thrown the authentication error, but now it got authenticated and it is executing. How? Even though
The
I did not
laptop is
mention,
having.
yeah, because it is authenticating through Azure CLI. Got it? That is what they mentioned here. The first one is Azure CLI. Okay, where it is? Yeah, the first one is Azure CLI. Okay, okay. Now I can, if I do Terraform apply command, this resource will get created. That you know it. Okay, fine. I'm not going to explain each and everything. Okay, these are related to the Azure portal. If you know very well about these topics, easily you can do it. Just for example, let me explain you this service principal and client secret ID. Okay, you decided to go for service principal and client secret ID instead of Azure CLI. Okay, so let's go to here. So how to use service principal and client secret ID? In general, forgot about Terraform now. In general, how will you create service principal in Azure? That you should know it. Okay. So in generally, we will go to here, application, app registration, right? App registration, and here we will create our own service principal and client secret ID. Okay. So in the documentation, they have clearly mentioned how to do that. See, creating service principal, how to do that, they using GUI they have documented it, and using CLI also they have documented it. Okay, so let me create using command line now. Okay, so this is a command to create. So first you need to set the subscription. If you are having multiple subscription, you have to first set the subscription. But by default, we have set it. Okay. If you want to set it, let me set it again. Um, so this is my subscription. Okay. Let me set this. Maybe we will execute here itself. Okay. If you want to expand, just click this up icon, then it will expand only. You will get only terminal. Again, if you want to minimize, just click this. You will get it. Okay. So let's use everything in the within the VS Code now. Okay. If you click here, this will be hidden. Okay. If you click again, this photo section will be shown. Okay. Okay. Fine. Now enter. I just set the subscription. Right. What is the next command? I need to create this service principal, right? Service principal. So here I need to mention the subscription ID. Whatever I'm showing, this is related to the specific cloud platform. Enter. One service principal is getting created. Okay, like it got created, and we got app ID and password and tenant ID. Okay, so now let's see in the portal now. Refresh the screen. See, this one got created now. Okay, and this is what it showed actually. This is application ID, object tenant ID, and here where the credential will be there. Okay, yeah, this is hidden, but this is the password actually. Okay, so you need to note it down first. Okay, now our objective or our goal is we should not use Azure LI. Instead of that, we are going to authenticate using service principal and client ID. Okay, that is our goal now. So how to do that? That's what we are seeing it now. Okay, so what you need to do first, I will expand this. Okay, maybe I just copy this one to here just for safer side, because once you lose, then you will not get it again. You need to create a new one. Okay, okay, fine. Now let's go to documentation. Okay, now if you see, app ID is the client ID actually. Okay, app ID is the client ID, and the password is the client secret. This password is nothing but the client secret, and tenant is nothing but the tenant ID. Okay, that you know it. Okay, now how to use this in provider? Okay, go to your this thing, provider block, right? So client ID, client secret, tenant ID, and subscription ID. These are the argument we have to use it in the provider block. How do you know this? How do you know this should be only client ID? How do you know this is client secret? Where do you see the arguments? Where do you see the arguments for your provider block? Here, if you click the argument reference, you can see this, right? So here, see, this is argument ID. Sorry, client ID. Okay, and tenant ID. So you should be aware. You should be aware based on your authentication model. For service principal and client ID, you should know that, okay, for service principal client ID, we have to use client ID and tenant ID and secret ID. In general, actually, forget about Terraform. If you take any of the application, this is how you need to authenticate. If you go for service principal and client ID, right? So we need to choose according to the argument here. So we have chosen client ID and tenant ID, and then what else we have choose? Client secret, right? And subscription ID. This is what needed for authenticating the service principal and the client ID. Am I right? So now let's, subscription ID is correct, and client ID. Client ID is nothing but the app ID. So I'm just copying this. Okay. I'm just copying this. And password is nothing but the client secret, right? So it's copying this. Okay. And tenant ID. Okay, tenant ID. Okay, super, fine. Okay, this substance ID already I'm having, so I'm deleting the one thing. Okay, fine. I'm just commenting it out so that Terraform will not read this. Fine. Okay, now let's see it. See, the argument can be, it's not. I mean, it is not necessarily to have in order. You can place it anywhere within the block. That doesn't matter at all. Also in the Terraform, also in the block wise, you can put a provider on the top, Terraform in the below. That doesn't matter at all because Terraform will read the all the blocks. That's it. It won't read like procedure format, order by order. Terraform is a declarative language. It's not the procedure language. That's what I told in the day one. Okay, fine. Now let me log out first. Okay, I'm just logging out. Let me comment this out as well. Okay, first let's try this Terraform plan. It is throwing authentication error. Okay, why?
It doesn't know
Why?
the password.
Yeah,
Yeah.
first it will check. First you check the Azure CLI. We have logged out, so my laptop itself does not aware of the credential of my Azure portal, so it won't work. Okay, that is a default by default because we have not mentioned any of the specific argument. That's why it is always check the Azure CLI. That's why it is throwing error. Okay, now we'll give the we'll enable this now. Okay, we enabled it. Now we'll execute this code now. Terraform plan. See, it got authenticated. How? Using this client ID, using the
And password.
secret, it got authenticated. Okay. So, so what is the purpose of provider block?
Authentication.
Authentication, the provider.
Authenticating your provider. That's it. Authenticating a provider. You should use provider block. Simple, right? Okay. But one more problem here, right? If you mention the provider block, if you mention this client ID and secret ID blindly here, everyone can read it, right? That is
Yes.
not the recommended one, right?
Yes.
Then there are some ways we can manage it. Okay. Okay. The first one I will explain you. Do you know what is environment variable? Anyone knows what is environment variable? Anyone? No? You are all from infra side, right?
Yeah.
Support side. Okay, fine.
Windows used
Yes.
to do that in environment
In
variable.
Windows, we have mentioned in the environment variable, there is a section called environment variable. If you mention, even for config Terraform, we have configured it. You remember?
Yeah, the path we have provided the path. Uh,
Yeah.
Ah,
Timer.
correct. So, this is the Windows side. So, in the Windows system, see, I'm clicking environment variables. So, environment variable is nothing but that variable will be available in all. I mean, it is, we are setting variable in the OS actually. Okay, so wherever you are in the OS, you should be able to access these variables. That is the environment variable, right? The same way you can set it for our Terraform. Actually, see here. There are for each and every authentication type we have a specific environment variable. Let me show you for the service principal and client secret. For that I will show you now. See here, ARM client ID. This is the environment variable. It should be ARM client ID with a capital letter. This is a variable. It has to be like this only. Okay. And ARM client secret, ARM tenant ID, ARM ASU subscription. It should be like this. Okay. So whenever you say ARM client ID, that the Terraform can read this environment variable and get the value. Okay. So how to set the environment variable? Let's see it now. Okay. I'm copying this. Actually, if you are using a Linux based machine, then the export is a command to set the environment variable. If you are using Windows based machine, then you should use the PowerShell command. Okay, env colon this environment variable still the same, but setting the environment variable will be different. For Linux based we use export. For PowerShell we will use env. I mean Linux based Windows based machine we will use $env colon. Okay, otherwise everything is good. Okay, same. Let me go to here and let me copy this. Okay. Okay, so what is the client ID? This is the client ID. App ID is nothing but the client ID. I'm just copying it. And the password is a secret. Just copy it. And tenant ID, copy it. Okay, and subscription ID. What is the subscription ID? Okay, we will ignore subscription ID alone. Okay, that is not needed now. Okay, we'll set only these three now. Okay, now I'm going to execute this command. Actually, one by one, let me execute. Okay, on my machine. Okay, before that, let me comment this out. Let me comment this out as well, or I will delete this. Now anyone tell me if my Terraform will authenticate or not?
No.
It is not,
No.
because we have commented out. Okay, now we are setting environment variable now. Export and this one and this one. Okay, now I have not mentioned any of the specific arguments on my product block. I have not logged into Azure CLI. Am I right?
Correct.
You are following me, right? Okay. Now if I do Terraform plan, it is getting authenticated. How? Because first it will check the Azure CLI. It is not. It will check the it will check the any specific arguments. There is no nothing. So it will check the environment variable. Yes, the environment variable is having the information. Using that information, it got authenticated. So the same way, if you are running your Terraform on your pipeline, the pipeline you can set this environment variable secretly. I mean securely. Okay, or if you're running into any Jenkins server, in the Jenkins server you can configure this environment variable securely, right? This is one way. The another way is you can even store this into your secret vault, and you can fetch it and execute it. Okay, that I will show you when we into some deep. Okay, for now just understand what is provided, how it is getting authenticated. All good.
Yeah, but
Super.
Yes.
Okay, so as you know that there are number of ways to authenticate. In that we have seen Azure CLI and client secret, I mean service principal and client secret ID. If you know very well about how to use OpenID or how to use managed identity, if you know the concept, you can make use of it. Very simple. It's all the cloud knowledge you need to have it. That's it. Okay. If you come to Terraform, or not only Terraform, if you go for any other project, first you need to understand how it is working in the target platform, then only you can make use of it, right? That's it. Very simple. Okay, super. Okay. So what is the time now? 8:53. Okay, we will complete this. Okay. So next thing is multiple provider. Okay, fine. What is multiple provider? Let's have one example. Let's assume, let's assume you are having, okay, let me ask this. What we will do now is, okay, I will answer the environment variable now. Okay. Where is that? I'm clearing all my environment variables. Okay, Terraform plan. Okay, it is throwing it. Fine, we are good now. Okay, I don't have any authentication information on my laptop, as well as I don't have any on the product box. Okay, we are good. Okay, let's see. Let me log into Azure login. Okay, and plan. It is okay if I extend for 5 minutes. Is that okay for everyone?
Okay,
Yeah,
Ji.
fine, no problem.
Okay, fine. Okay, we will complete this. Okay, fine. See, now I can authenticate. Okay, fine. Now it is authenticating through my Azure CLI. So if I create any resource, if I want to create any resource, where it will get created, in which subscription it will get created.
The same subscription.
Same subscription in Azure
I'm
cloud.
having, I'm having 3 subscriptions, right? Right. Yeah, I'm having 3 subscriptions. One is the second subscription. This subscription ID is differ. This subscription differ, and this is other subscription. Now, if I mention the subscription ID, okay. So where it will get created? Only on this
What was?
specific.
Hmm.
What we
Let's say this.
specify the same subscription. Yeah.
Yeah, correct. So let's say if I want to create, if I want to use the same root folder, but I want to create resources on different subscription as well. If I want to create a resource on 2 subscription using the same code, how to do that? That is not possible till now, because in the provider we can mention only one subscription, right? We cannot mention 2 subscription ID here. Only the argument always should be the unique. You cannot no duplicate it. Okay. Okay, fine. Then what we can do is, you need to have another product block. Okay. Here, why should I mention Azure RM?
Local name.
Local name. So this Azure RM will always use this particular package. That's why you are using this Azure RM. Got it? Okay. So now maybe let me go to the another example here. Okay. Okay. See, these are we need to mention. Uh, 2 product block. One fine. Second product block, this one. And to make the difference, we have to use alias argument. The special argument called alias. For that, you can give any name. Okay, whatever the name you can give. Okay, fine. Now let me go into this particular path. See here there are okay. Let me delete this. Okay, here there are one resource block called sub1. I will explain this later, but just uh, listen from the provider perspective. Okay, forget about what is the resource, what is this. I don't understand. Don't confuse it. don't panic. I will explain this again in detail. Okay. Okay. So now what actually logically what happens is whenever the resource block, whenever the Terraform sees a resource, basically it is for creating resources. Okay. So this resource block will use the information on the provided block, right? Let me copy this and paste here, okay, for just making you understand. Okay. Whenever Terraform looks this resource, to create the resource, it has to be authenticated, am I right? For
Yeah, correct.
authenticating, it has to look for the product block, right? So it will look for the product block. Let me comment this or I'll delete this. It has to look for the product block. It is looking the product block. Yes, it has the information how to authenticate everything. Yes, it got authenticated and create the resources. That is fine, absolutely fine. But if I having two providers, now this resource block is trying to create the resource for it. Now it will try to authenticate. For authenticating, it has to look for the product block. While looking out, it's I mean it finds two product block. Now it is a conflict, right? It is a confusion. Resource block will get confused. Yeah, I have seen two product block. Which one should I look? Right? That is a confusion. To avoid the confusion, we have to have this alias.msdn. Okay. Okay, fine. Now, so here this is the default provider now. Which provider block does not have alias? That is the default provider. Okay. So by default, the resource block will look for the default provider. This resource block now, this resource block, which provider block it will look? This or this now? This one.
First one.
This is the default provider.
First one,
That's why it will look for it. Okay,
default provider.
fine. But I want to create one more resource on the different. What is that? Let's say just two. Okay, I want to create this resource in the subscription, another subscription. I mean, in this subscription.
Alias of
Now
provider.
alias provider, right? So now when we want to when this Terraform execute this specific block, it will again look for the provider block. Now it will look for which provider block?
The default. Okay.
Default. But that is wrong. Actually we want to look for this provider block, right? So
Yeah.
for that what we have to do, what is that, I forgot. Oh, provider, sorry, provider. Okay, provider. So this one we need to mention. Let's see here. So here we are specifically mentioning, hey, this resource, this specific resource should look for this specific resource block, not for the default resource block. Now, what this resource block will do? It will go for the provider. It will first search for this Azure RM. Is there any Azure RM provider is there? Yes, two Azure RM I found it. Okay, out of these two, which one I look? Dot .msdn. Okay, then alias dot .msdn. Now it will look for this. Now it will use this specific provider block and it will authenticate using this one and it will create resources on this specific subscription, right? Let me execute. Let me just, I'm having everything a single block now. Okay. Okay, let's execute now. Terraform apply, Terraform init. Good. Don't no no. I mean no note. Don't worry about this error. Okay, I will explain later. Terraform apply. Sorry, init. Terraform apply. Terraform plan. Yes, you can go for Terraform plan and then go for apply. If you are very sure, you can go for Terraform apply directly as well. Okay. So what is our goal? This SUR test 01 should be on this specific resource block. I mean this specific subscription, and on this subscription we have to create this one. Okay, let's check this out. Oh, it got created. So let me go to Azure portal. Let me go to my subscription, the first subscription. This is my first subscription. I mean, this subscription belongs to this specific ID. Okay. Okay. Now let me go to resource group. See, SU test 01 got created on this specific subscription. This specific resource block used this provider, but you cannot see this SU or test 02 on this subscription because that we have mentioned different subscription. Okay, let me switch to the subscription and I will show you. Okay, see here, you can see it. You got it. What is multiple provider now? Multiple provider is you can use multiple provider to create resources on different provider. Okay, so that is the concept here. So any doubt?
No, Suresh.
Yeah. So yeah, so we are into end of the session. Let's have quickly the question and answer. So what is configuration files? What is configuration or what is manifest files? When I say configuration files, what it means?
Root directory files, it's mentioned with the .tf.
RTF, super, yes. What is Terraform directory or root directory?
Where these
Uh,
files are
All the
located.
two ATF.
all TF files are collected under some root directory that is called home directory or
Super,
root directory.
yes. So what are the most Terraform commands we will use widely?
Terraform init
Init,
plan.
plan,
Man of
update,
destroy.
distribute. Okay. And what does Terraform init do?
It will
Initially,
install
initial.
the
Download the files,
provider.
initial
Yes,
files.
you can call it as provider or plugins, which will be used to create the resource on the target platform. Without Terraform init, you cannot do it. Okay. Without the .terraform folder, I showed you right, .terraform folder. Without that folder or without the package, Terraform will not execute because Terraform does not have any information. Okay. So provider is or this package is the heart of Terraform. Okay. Okay. And how Terraform interacts with Azure?
By provider.
IO.registry.
Huh? No, no, I'm
Provider
asking
block.
how you track.
Provider
Provider,
block.
by provider.
Yeah, provider block and providers. Okay, how to lock a specific version after specific provider version? I decided to lock my code to execute only on the specific version. How can you do that?
Equal
We
to
need
a
to define the version.
Version defining.
Word underscore version. That is the argument we have to use it. Okay, if you don't use it, by default it will choose the latest one, or if you go for Terraform, it will use the version which is on your laptop or which is on the platform where you are executing Terraform code. Okay. So what is Terraform directory? Yes, that is nothing but root directory. What is multi-provider and does Terraform support multi-provider deployments? Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Good. I hope you are good with today's topic. Today is the basic topic, master topic. You have to understand each and everything. So going forward, I mean, the next session we will see the resource block, how to create the resource, and how to write the code. We can write the code on live session. Okay, fine. So any
Okay.
doubts you can ask me, or we can wind up now.
Okay.
Today, suppose
Session
you have to
the
practice this
recording.
session means how to.
Sorry, come again.
Today, suppose we have to practice this today's session means then how to.
Okay. Yeah, that GitHub repository is having all this sample code. You just modify and execute whatever we have discussed in the today's session. I have updated that GitHub repository in the group discussion, but still I haven't given access to you. So what I will do today, I will connect with Stanley. Let me stop this recording once. Wait.